From the Millersville University Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kyle Elliott.
And I'm student meteorologist Mitchell Cocaine.
Here with the medium range forecast and video discussion issued on Wednesday, February 5th. Well, Mitch, taking a look out the window, it's cloudy, it's colder than what it was yesterday, and this is setting the stage for a fairly significant winter storm tonight into tomorrow, isn't it?
It is. And, I'm kind of over this pattern at this point. I'm kind of tired of the cold. I just kind of, we got a little bit of warmth, I think it was last Monday or something.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is
nice.
Kind of nice. And then, now we're
Went
going
right
back
back
down
to
the
this.
drain. So
Yeah, as a warm weather lover, I'm ready for this to be done, for us to be back up into the 60s and 70s, but unfortunately, that is not going to be the case. In fact, those kind of temperatures are not even in our foreseeable future. Instead, we're going to have to deal with an onslaught of winter storms over the next 7 to 10 days, the first of which is going to impact the region this evening through tomorrow morning. So currently I'm expecting a general coating to 2 inches of sleet across the lower Susquehanna Valley, followed up by a few hundredths to a tenth of an inch of ice accretion. So as a result, roadways are going to be an absolute mess tonight into tomorrow morning. But fortunately, it does look like temperatures are going to rise above freezing late tomorrow morning and then get into the low 40s tomorrow afternoon. So roadways around and after midday should just be wet. But if you can, please try to avoid all unnecessary travel through tonight into tomorrow morning before temperatures rise above freezing. In the wake of that storm system, we are going to deal with a trailing cold front that moves through the area on Thursday night. Behind that, we'll deal with another bout of gusty winds on Friday. Northwesterly gusts could reach 35 miles per hour, but at least the sun will be out and temperatures will be back in the low to mid 40s. So those wet roadways will have a chance to dry out. Unfortunately, though, it does look like we're going to be dealing with another mixed wintry precipitation event over the weekend. And Mitch, you can talk to us about that.
yeah, so as you guys can see, looking at the 1 p.m. on Saturday, we got that low pressure system centered over the central state of Missouri, and it's going to ultimately move its way eastward off the coast of New England. And what you can't really see during the two frames is, we're going to get that wintry mix in there, and it's going to start to snow, it's going to go to sleet, then it's going to freezing rain, it's going to go to rain. So, try to stay off the roads, the main day of Saturday. Sunday looks to be pretty okay. By the time you're going to church in the morning, roads should just be generally wet. Nothing should be really frozen at that point. So that's good.
So it's kind of the tale of two weekend days. Saturday, we'll get that wintry mix overspreading the area in the afternoon, continuing into the overnight hours. But like Mitch said, by Sunday morning, it's going to be all dried out and temperatures will be above freezing. Behind that trailing cold front Sunday afternoon, it will be rather windy. Sunday's very similar to Friday. We'll have wind gusts of 35 to 40 miles per hour. Highs again around 40 degrees. So Sunday's really just a carbon copy of Friday. But as we move forward then into early next week, we're stuck in what's called a gradient pattern. So a gradient pattern is basically one in which there's a very large contrast in temperatures between the northern tier and the southern tier of the United States. So we have this quasi-stationary frontal boundary that's basically draped from the central states to the eastern seaboard. Every time one of these storm systems comes along, the boundary's pulled northward out ahead of the system, and then the northerly flow behind it pushes that boundary farther south. But it's still set up over this general area. By Sunday, it's going to be draped from the Tennessee River Valley to the Carolina coastline. But guess what? There's going to be another disturbance that forms along it early next week, and that's going to try to drag the boundary back to the north. So there is some disagreement in the timing and the precipitation types between the GFS and the European model next Monday into Tuesday. But the stage is set for yet another winter storm, more likely Tuesday into Wednesday, but it could start snowing here as soon as late Monday into Monday night. We'll just have to see about the timing as we get closer. But like I said, that frontal boundary is essentially going to be draped from the south central states into the mid-Atlantic, and that's going to separate temperatures in the teens and 20s across the northern tier from temperatures in the 80s and even 90s across parts of the Florida Peninsula early next week. So that big difference in temperature really is an indicator of an unstable atmosphere. That's what's causing each one of these disturbances to form along that frontal boundary and then glide along it to the north and east. So if you take a look at the European model for next Monday, it's pretty similar to the GFS. It's a little slower getting that precip back in here. But as we move forward into Tuesday, you see one of those more organized areas of low pressure starting to form over the Tennessee River Valley and the southeast. To the north of that storm system's track, well, we're going to have bitterly cold air in place. In fact, temperatures may only be in the 20s next Tuesday and Wednesday. And if that's the case, and all layers of the atmosphere are below freezing, then we will actually get a bona fide snowstorm across the lower Susquehanna Valley. But don't be surprised if this system does ultimately end up trending a little bit farther north. You can see on the European model, the rain snow line is essentially set up right along the Mason-Dixon line. So all this boundary has to do is shift 50 to 100 miles farther north, And instead of a snowstorm, we're dealing with another mixed precipitation event or just a plain rain event. If the boundary shifts 50 to 100 miles farther south, it would just be an all snow event. The heaviest snow would likely be south of the Mason-Dixon line. So it's going to be very difficult to finesse these details more than 2 or 3 days in advance. But just know, as we head into next week, the pattern is ripe with potential for winter weather. So as we take a look at the medium range forecast, cloudy and cold on Saturday with a wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, mainly after midday and then tapering off later Saturday night. High Saturday 34. Windy and seasonable on Sunday with a mix of clouds and sun, high 44. Mostly cloudy and seasonable on Monday. There could be a chance of snow, but I think the better chance comes on Tuesday with that chance of snow or a wintry mix. High Monday 38, and then highs around freezing or possibly even only in the upper 20s on Tuesday. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the Medium Range Forecast. Tune back in next Wednesday for the latest edition. Until then, stay safe and stay off the roads if at all possible. Later tonight into tomorrow morning, again Saturday afternoon into Saturday night, and then again during the middle of next week. So stay safe out there and stay tuned for updates.